Hey everyone, Tech here. Welcome to Tech's Tavern. Grab a brew, pull up a chair, and let's do a quick look at Gnomoria. Yes, Gnomoria. I don't really know where else to go with that title, but it makes a bit of sense when you tie it into some popular culture and what's going on in the game. Essentially, Gnomoria is another in a series of games that are trying to take the inaccessibility of Dwarf Fortress and put kind of the same gameplay elements, but into a much more user-friendly UI, graphic interface, just overall aesthetics. So there's been some other games like Towns, for instance, and you could even say a game of dwarves. And Gnomoria is a pretty good game. I actually have enjoyed it quite a bit, much more than Towns. I had some bad experiences with Towns and was kind of disappointed with it, and I find Gnomoria is a much cleaner and more approachable game. And I'm gonna load up one of my my stylish swamp. They have like a random generator for the names of your maps. This has kind of been my third attempt. I haven't really put a ton of hours into this game, but I have put a little bit in, and this has kind of been, this here is my first test world. And as you can hear in the background, the music on this game is great. They got some cool, like, old school, you know, 16-bit, you know, Sega sounded music going on in the background, which is pretty awesome. But this is kind of right here, this is my first, this has been like my test map, so to speak. I'm kind of doing this one before I embark into like a serious effort, so to speak. But what the game is you start off with a certain amount of resources and a certain amount of gnomes, of course, as you can see. And right here I have a dead gnome. I've been having some goblin attacks, and I don't really know what you do with these corpses. We got Fizz's corpse laying out here, and I don't really know if there's anything, any of you that are more knowledgeable can tell me, is there something I can do to clear these dead corpses from the entrance of my gnome's house? But as you can see, I have a nice little yak field here. You start off with 2 yaks, and as you can see, I've been getting a couple extras born. I'm in the process of building a nice little cool picket fence around here, and they got yak milk all over the place out here, you can see. If you've played Towns or Dwarf Fortress, though, you'll recognize a lot of things in what's going on. You're able to plant trees. As you can see out here, I've got all kinds of different crops planted. I got pine trees. Here are strawberry plants. So I'm growing my own food, and then I also got a couple of tree farms going on here. This is another pine tree farm, which I'm not sure why they haven't been seeding it yet. You can see here I've been picking apples off these trees. I left all these trees originally. I didn't cut them down because I wanted to be able to just keep getting apples off of them from time to time. You can see here up in the top left corner I got food and drink. So you're always, one of the big things is trying to make sure you're always getting enough food and drink to keep everybody alive and happy. You start off with 9. As you can see here, I have 11 and then 1 deceased. I was up to 12, and then we had a goblin attack that killed one of my girls right there. And then inside the dungeon, I'm going to scroll out here. If you look up here at the top, you can see the depth in the top left. And you know, this is like 11 levels above, you know, the neutral plane, so to speak. So as you can see here, I've kind of tunneled into a mountain. And I kind of picked this location on this map strategically for a purpose, for a reason, is I liked that there was this big open area out here, this big open flat area where I was able to build crops and whatnot. And then also there was a water source not too far away right here, so I was able to build a couple of wells, which you need to be able to get drink and whatnot. And then, you know, I had a mountain here that I could build into. And I could actually build, I guess, up in the mountain, but so far I've only been building down. So let me go back down to level 0 here. So this is level 0, we're on the flat plane. And as you can see, I've built in here. I have a little kitchen area here. This guy's making loaves of bread. The way it works, too, is you build different crafting tables. So you have to build, like, you know, this is a sawmill table. So you could go into sawmill and pick things to build, like, well, basically just planks here. And as you can see, there's a whole bunch of planks already queued up. One system that they just added to the game, which is actually pretty useful, is that when you do pick to build something that say you need 3 components built. A honey badger has been spotted. I'm not really sure what the purpose of that is. I guess I could kill him to get meat and stuff, but But what I was getting at was, say you have something you're going to build, like a, well, here's a good example. We'll go down here. Here's a distillery I'm using to make drink, and they're making wine and beer here. So you can actually see that they're making different wines and beer, and what they need fruit for the wine, they need grain for the beer, which I got plenty of both of those, because in my crops out here, whoops, nope, I need to scroll up. You can see I got a wheat field right here, so I got plenty of that going on. And then the fruit, the strawberries, and the apples, of course. So, but if you have to build something like, say, this here, which required like a table and a keg and a barrel or whatever it was, one thing they added to the game to help cut down on a little bit of the micromanagement is you don't have to sit and build each individual thing first. So, like, I guess on some of these types of games, and even how it used to be on this game, was in order for me to have built that, which I can show you right here, if I go into the build queue, workshop, where's that? Food, drink, distillery. So if I wanted to build a distillery, it brings up here, it shows that I need a table and a barrel, and you can hover over these question marks. It says I need a carpenter's workshop for each one of those items. Well, the way the game used to be is you would go in here like this and you'd say, okay, for me to build this, I need a table. Well, I don't have any tables built right now, and I need a barrel, and I don't have any barrels built right now. So you'd have to go out of here, go into the carpentry one, which is here, and then you'd have to pick, okay, I got to build a table and a chair or whatever, and you'd have to do it manually. Well, they just added to the game now where when you build it, you can just pick an item to build straight out, and the game will automatically tell it's, you know, it will automatically queue up the jobs for the components that are needed, which is a very cool feature actually. So that really helps cut down on a little bit of micromanagement. Here you can see this is like my humongous storeroom here. I'm trying to build a dining area over here. And like I said, this has kind of been my experimental game. This is my crafting room where I've been putting my various tables at. I think I'm in the process of building a... what am I building there? I'm not even sure what I'm building there. I'm building something there. This was a loom, I think. Yeah, I think this was a tailor. I was trying to build a tailor thing to make a bed. I was going to try to make beds. And again, here's a kitchen. This guy's pumping out some loaves of bread. Got people out here picking the strawberries and the apples and all that kind of fun stuff. And every once in a while you get little events that pop up. Like I had a bear pop up at one time. You get these goblins pop up that cause trouble. You'll get new gnomes that show up. They're kind of like nomads. Here you can see this is a second level down. I'm at -1. I've just been kind of mining down here. I really haven't been utilizing any of this. Although I did queue up a few beds here. But I don't think the beds can be made until I get that tailor thing done, I think. And then I got a third level here below where I've just been basically, I was kind of trying to plan and build some big rooms down here, you know, kind of make it look, you know, a little more organized instead of just random digging. And they're still down here, coming down here and picking up dirt piles and moving them, so that's kind of funny. They're just going back and forth picking up dirt piles. And that's as far as I've gone. I've just gone 3 levels, or 2 levels from the base level down. So, but it's a very interesting game, and like I said, it's a little more refined than Towns. It just works better. It looks better in action to me than Towns did. I mean, I know the animations of the guys moving around. It's, you know, nothing fancy, but it definitely gets the job done, and I like the style of the artwork. I think is done very well. And you can do everything from replacing floors, like right here. This was an experiment where I just tried to tile a floor to make a fancy, you know, entry hallway, and so I was able to do that. It took a while. And you do a lot of things too, like experimenting with designating areas. Like you will go into designate area, and then you pick the kind of area that you want to make. So if you want to make a farm to grow crops, you would pick farm, and then you would kind of come and select the area. So you'd say, okay, I want this little area right here is going to be a farm, and then you would pick what kind of crop you want. So you'd say, okay, a strawberry, wheat, or cotton, which one do I want? Well, I don't need any of these. I could use another cotton field, I guess. So you can pick cotton, and you can pick priority, which tells you know how much they focus on that particular project. And then you just hit back, and bam, there you go. You got a field. Now, at the same time, if I decided, oh, wait a minute, I didn't want that, you can go in here and do remove designation, and I just click on it, and boom, it's gone. And it's mostly just doing right clicks, left clicks to do everything. The controls are much much easier to understand than typical games of this type. You know, even Towns, I struggled with some of the controls. I mean, it's real easy. For instance, if I said, hey, I need some wood right here, I want to cut some of these trees down, you can use these buttons down here, but I tend to like just right-click on the screen somewhere, and I can go to Agriculture. I can go to Fell Trees, which means to cut trees down. You click on that, it gives you a little box, and then you can kind of just drag a little area and say, okay, hey, come cut these trees down. And they'll cut these trees down, and then that'll add to your wood supply. And a lot of things work that way. You know, these little cotton bushes right here, if I want to forage some of that cotton up, I can just go here, highlight this little area, and there, somebody will come forage those cotton bushes eventually. Same thing for apples and everything else. And the fields, they'll handle those automatically if you designate these fields. And the cool thing is like, for instance, this pine grove I have here, is if you click on it, you can actually set what they're doing. So they're actually on this pine grove, they're actually going to plant saplings that they cut from clippings. Then after that, they will cut clippings off of those. They will pick any fruit that's available, and then they will cut the trees down, and then it will repeat back over again. So it's a nice little setup where it just all automatically happens, to where if you eventually, the first thing you have to do is you have to get the clippings though. So you need to cut a bunch of clippings off of trees originally, then you designate a field, then from there it's pretty self-sustained. They'll continue to keep planting saplings, cutting clippings, cut the trees down, replant, and it'll just keep going and going and going. These trees here and these strawberries are probably on about their fourth or so cycle, or third cycle, I think. So that's all pretty neat the way that works. Same thing for the yaks. You just put a bunch of them in a field that's big enough and they'll just keep making more yak babies. I guess there's probably a way to butcher these, but I haven't quite figured that out. But I wanted to do a quick video on this game, a little quick look, just kind of showing you guys. This is something I've been playing a fair amount the last couple of days, and it's really enjoyable. I really like it. And like I said, if you've had that hankering to get into kind of a Dwarf Fortress game, but like me, we're kind of too scared to get into Dwarf Fortress. I spent a couple hours watching videos once, I told a friend, and after I got done watching 2 hours of videos, I had to go drink a 6-pack of beer afterwards because I felt like I was deficient as a human being, because I just could not put forth the power, the brain power and effort to try to get into Dwarf Fortress. Just all the shortcuts and things you got to figure out, it was just way too much for me to deal with. I needed on a smaller level to start with, and it's just the UI in Dwarf Fortress is just so alien. I mean, I know there's a lot of, I know we're all ready, somebody's going to put in the comments, oh, there's this mod and that mod and this thing, and you can add this and it changes the graphics. Yeah, there's a lot of things like that, but still, it's a gargantuan learning curve that you do have to put forth on Dwarf Fortress. And so if you're like me and kind of want to maybe ease into something a little easier, I think Gnomoria is a much better option than Towns, in my opinion. Towns, I guess, has been patched up and has gotten better and better, and it has more elements as far as more resources and more variety, but Gnomoria is being constantly updated by the devs, and even at this early stage, it's extremely polished. I have run into almost no bugs or problems with the game, and as you can see, there's a lot to do. I mean, there's a lot of different things to dig and build. You know, here, I'll show you how the digging works. You know, if I wanted to build another room out here, all you do is terrain, mine, wall, and then I could just select do a little hallway like this, bam, and then if I wanted to do a room, do like a little room like that, and there you go, all set. And then eventually somebody will come down and dig that out, and it's pretty straightforward. I mean, all the controls are real straightforward. The biggest thing is learning how to deal with the designation things. That can get some people messed up because you try to designate certain things, like, you know, here I can select an area, and then you can go in here and you can really say, okay, I only want, you know, serpentine rocks put on this area, or I only want, you know, dirt clumps put in this area. And so there's a lot to figure out in regards to that. So, but once you get past that curve, and there's some good videos out there from some people that you can definitely watch for tutorials on this game. So it's definitely something that you can pick up if you just put a small bit of effort into it. And so again, this is Gnomoria. It's pretty inexpensive. You can pick it up on Steam. I think I got it for like $7 on sale, but even at full price, I think it's only like $10 American, I believe. So it's a pretty neat little game, and I definitely would recommend it if you're interested in this type of game like I am. So again, pick it up, let me know what you think, put some comments below, and if any of you know how to get rid of these corpses, looks like one disappeared on its own, but if anybody knows how to get rid of these corpses, let me know, because I don't like that hanging out in front of the tavern. Makes the place look like a, you know, a low-grade thug joint. So anyway, thanks for joining me in the tavern, and I will catch you guys next time.